Now, for many, Tokyo 2020 for the Olympics are supposed to be an exciting period for everyone who was watching out for the global sporting fiesta. Now, COVID-19 put a dash on all preparations, such that it had to be delayed. And here we are in 2021, and it's just some weeks to actually look into the 32nd Olympiad, which is now scheduled to hold from July 23rd to August 8th, 2021. Now, for many, what are the preparations? As nations have also been putting last-minute attention to what needs to be done for the qualified athletes and to participate in those key sports. Nigeria, of course, is ready, as we want to know from our guest this very evening on the program. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has unveiled a comprehensive plan for Team Nigeria towards podium success at the Tokyo Olympics. Now, according to the roadmap released by the Sports Ministry, the final stage of local campaign is ongoing, having commenced from May 15th and is set to end on July 6th in Bayelsa, Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. Now, some of the outlook will be track and field National Olympics trials, which will be taking place between June 17th through to 19th, 2021, of course. The last phase of the campaign will be in Kisarazu in Japan. That will be between July 3rd to 23rd, when the first batch of the athletes will enter the Games Village for the Olympics in Tokyo. So, what will it be? As we said, that Nigeria will be presenting about 80 athletes in 10 sports at the Tokyo Olympics. We have advantage, we have wrestling, we have judo, we have taekwondo, we have table tennis. Of course, you know the hopefuls you've seen for some who have even actually participated in the last 3 Olympics. Now, male and female basketball are some of the events we'll be looking out for as qualified athletes, as well as other areas in track and field. Rowing and canoeing, sailing, at least with all the body of water, we should actually have some serious participation there. Now, so what more do we owe some of these activities that have made people to actually put their eye on the global stage to see Nigeria's participation at Tokyo 2020 now in 2021? My guests will be talking a lot about this because they are the experts. I'm just here to see, so you get to see people being very great spectators at different mondial like that, so whether at the stadium or anywhere else, and for those who will be watching via the big screen. My name is Blessing Abu. Welcome to Nigeria Today. You'll meet my guests in a short while. Okay, Nigeria's preparation for Tokyo 2020 Olympics taking place in 2021 is focused on Nigeria Today. Let's welcome my guests. Let me welcome Dr. Mike Enahoro.
Good evening, Nigeria. How are you?
Great, and I'm sure we're all enthused in one way or the other over Olympics. That's Tokyo 2020, now happening in 2021. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, joining us again on set 2 is Al-Hassan Yakmut, former Director, General National Sports Commission. Glad to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Okay, let's lay it bare. COVID-19 no doubt dealt the whole world its own blow, and the sports world too was not left out, because at a point it was as if all the sporting activities had to just be pulled off, delayed, and pushed for the season that the world felt would be safer. Is it very safe now, still having this pockets of COVID issues here and there across the different nations? How safe are we, and how ready do you think we are for Olympics 2020 taking place in 2021? Dr. Mike Nahoro.
Right. I think the world has adjusted to sporting activities that are happening within the pandemic. We've seen the Euros are about to kick off tomorrow. And if Europe is going to be able to organize a multi-nation, multi-location event, I think the world has come to terms with the fact that we're living in a pandemic and life must go on. and we've gotten through protocols that have ensured that the majority of populations in areas where sporting activities are going to be held are bubbled. The sportsmen are going to be bubbled in different types of environments that would allow them to compete safely and health and in very high protocols of health. And we have seen again that competitors understand exactly the health and safety concerns of organizers. We've also seen that sponsors have adapted. Sponsors understand exactly what times we live in, and they've been able to adapt promotions and competition type of funding towards pandemic-related type of events. So I think the world has come to terms that we understand exactly what's going on, and we figure that this event, which is a global stage to unite people, especially at times like this that are challenging in all different countries for different reasons, we want to have the Olympics. We want to see the best of human endurance and performances and training, and we want to be able to see that life in these very difficult times can go on to the best of what human capacities can deliver. So I think we're all looking forward to the global event, and it's going to be the first of its kind, a multi-event, multi-sport, the Olympic is one of its kind. So holding an Olympic at this time would bring in the human spirit and be able to uplift countries and people that have gone through 2 years of very hard times.
Okay, Mr. Hassan, Yakmut, I'm sure you want to share in the say. Oh well, where do you stand? What are your own perspectives?
Oh, well, thank you so much. My friend Mike has captured it well, but there are some also new dynamics, new dimensions, and new psychological issues that have evolved, because the pandemic itself I think the experience is over a century ago when we had this kind of experience. And now with this development, so many things have changed. The social reason of sports is unity and bridging of gaps. Now we are creating social distance in order to meet protocol of COVID. How do we juxtapose the objective of sports for unity and then maintain social distance? The economics of the Olympics is going to change, because it is the followership in terms of spectatorship, it is the followership in terms of sports tourism that makes countries to bid and host the Olympics in order to break even economically. Be that as it may, man has always been a resilient creature, and now the COVID should not stop the culture of Olympics from coming to play. And we look forward to a very exciting Olympics, but again, a new normal. And I'm sure not much of the fun will be lost.
Okay. I'm glad both of you have presented such enthusiasm towards what is expected of the Olympics. You've talked about dynamics. You've talked about all the aspects of economics to watch out for. Yes, nations bid for such to actually leverage on what is going to be coming in terms of business as well. The business side to sports, and also the togetherness that we must witness. Now Nigeria, of course, is participating alongside other nations of the world, and we're always said to be taking it in our own strides when it comes to preparing for the Olympics. I'm sure we are witnessing something different this time around. Well, how so? I want to find out from both of you as well. Let's get on with you, Mr. Yakmut. Nigeria's preparation.
Nigeria's preparation is very exciting. Nigeria responded to the COVID as soon as the lockdown was lifted. Early preparation commenced at a low level in different centers of the country, and the qualification of the Nigerian contingent to the Olympics has been in phases. As a matter of fact, we've not finished qualifying, but so far about 11 sports have won tickets. The COVID has made preparation technically difficult, because there are some cycles that you cannot omit, COVID or no COVID, in preparing an athlete for such an elitist competition. But nonetheless, from what I saw, there are pockets of events that Nigeria is not too far from the medal, from the podium, particularly in athletics. And then this promising young girl in Taekwondo seems to carry the secret and joker for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. That is my technical opinion.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Mike, yes, other events we know our strength and some of those areas that we want to now take advantage of. So we'll be looking at those one where we have a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Of course, athletics is there for us, and tennis is another area that we've seen so much hopeful, isn't it so?
I think those are the normals that Nigeria would go into: football, athletics, and tennis, because these have long-term programs that are set and competition is already set. Although athletics has faced a lot of challenges with the absence of mobile and the continuous bickering between the administrators to try to get their act together, the one good news is that football, which has been a very volatile and very challenging sport, had a very easy transition. Unfortunately, our technical advisor didn't do the good job of preparing majority of the young Nigerians who could play football at the Olympic level. But again, that's another news for another day. But other sports are exciting as well. Wrestling, with what Igali is doing in Bayelsa, and the ladies, you find Nigerian ladies are doing amazing in wrestling. And with what Daniel is doing in Yanagwa, it must be commended. Another one is we have some very, very fairy tale stories that are coming up right now. Nigerians who are going to represent us in gymnastics. And they're going to represent us in rowing. These are opportunities, and canoeing, and these are opportunities that Nigeria has. And Scrabble is coming up very soon. There's going to be an Olympic event, and dancing is going to be very soon in an Olympic event. If anything, Nigeria, for this time around, has had a minister that has focused on stats, that has focused on policy, that has brought in a lot of policy people, and he's not a minister for football. He's not a football administrator. He has focused a lot on getting Nigeria's preparation in terms of a global sporting event. So you find that we have, like my big brother Al Hassan has said, you find that we have prepared and already qualified for 11 sports altogether. But don't be surprised. The boxers are still out there. They're going to travel very soon, male and female. You will find that boxers will come through. Weightlifting is going to be another area that we're going to go through. And we forget the perennial medals table that Nigeria is one of the top 50 countries in the Paralympics. We should not forget the Paralympians. They are working as hard as the able-bodied athletes, and Nigeria makes well in the Paralympics. So Paralympians are one of Nigeria's biggest secrets and medal haul that we've ever had. So we should support those programs, and we should look forward to those programs, because those are where Nigeria's medal haul will come true. And so you would find that this Olympics is going to be a bit of a difference, because where our medal trail will come true is not going to be in the traditional sports, because there's no football. Nigeria's basketball team is doing very well, and they've gone 3 or 4 times through this process of being just there, just good enough. At this time, the boys and girls have a lot to prove, and they have to go out there and make it count this time. A lot of them are veterans of the Olympics, and they would have to go back this time around to prove to their other colleagues who play with them in the professional leagues that they are good enough to be champions. Right. So Nigeria will see a lot more fun, and Nigeria will get a lot more opportunities at medals, but it won't come from the traditional sports.
This will be pleasant surprises, definitely. Okay, well, gentlemen, we're going on a break now. When we return, it is often said that you take about 5 to 8 years to prepare an athlete for a podium finish. Well, how true that is, we'll still find out from you, as well as other areas of interest, as we look at Nigeria's preparation for Tokyo 2020 happening in 2021 after this break. Yes, welcome back. If you just tuned in, the program is Nigeria Today, and we still have my guest seated. We have former Director, General National Sports Commission, Al-Hassan Yakmout, and also Dr. Mike Nauro, a sports analyst with us in the studio. Yes, we're talking about hopefuls, and also my question just before the break was taking a look at what it takes to prepare the athletes. Some have given the different ranges of 5 to 8 years for a podium finish at the Olympics. Now, what we have so far, we've had some of the athletes who are also going for this one being the like the seventh time for somebody like what's her name now? In tennis, right?
Table tennis.
Table tennis, Funke. And also some will be making their, well, more like their final debut at such a fiesta. Now, our preparation so far, yes, over the years, we've always had this like of, okay, it's just a year too, and for other nations of the world, they will have taken, as soon as they're even finishing, they start the next preparation. So far, yes, you've already pointed out what is happening across the nation, even as we speak. What more do we need to do differently for athletes and also for the team as Team Nigeria? Dr. Mike.
Well, to cut the long story short, we have to have continuous political will. My big brother here just retired. People like him have worked 30 years in the system and understand exactly what it means to be what the program needs to be sustained. We need to sustain programs. We don't need to do this thing. People who are not qualifying for the Olympics, who are near misses to this Olympics, should be kept in camp and continue their training and continue their build-up towards the next Olympics in 2025, 2024, 2026. If you don't do that, then everything else fails. Because of this Olympics, it's not a closed deal because there were a lot of people who participated but just couldn't make it. So we need to continue their program and their development over the next 4 years. And that doesn't take anything other than a political will to be able to say that sports is not a social issue, but it is an economically impacting issue that should be on the budget and as part of a GDP generating process. Because if you do that, a lot of young Nigerians will begin to find themselves that they can actively live a life positively through sports. And once that stops, that's the difference between developed countries and developing countries. We don't restart the clock every time there's an Olympics 2 or 3 years before time. Developing countries just have to stop because economically the political will is not there to build programs. But developed countries build programs. So they can take 19-year-olds that were born in 1979 and start to train them against 2024 Olympics. That's what they do. And they have 4 years of getting these 1979 kids ready for that Olympics. But they work with the 1980 ones, they work with the 1981 ones, they work with the 1982 ones, because that same program is a stream that continues. It's a continuum. And once we do not have that continuum in a country like Nigeria, whose biggest capital is human beings, then we're going to continue to have this start, stop, continuous process of not really getting to the point where we should begin to see economic dividends from sports. Okay,
former DG, I'm sure some of the things Dr. Nauro is talking about will be of great concern to you too, because being at the Aims of Affair for the period you stayed on, I'm sure there were some pulls here and there from yourself as well as your team to actually take a look into some of these complaints over the seasons.
That's correct. Over the years, there were, in the public sector, government had brought very, very strong policy development issues towards sustainable sports development program, particularly trying to maintain a cycle for the development of athletes. You were talking of 8 years to 5 to 8 years. No, the actual cycle for podium success is much longer than that. And again, it's not supposed to be abridged.
Okay.
It must connect from one section of the preparation to the other. There are 4 major phases in podium success preparation, and they are actually periodically calculated based on physiological and technical development as well as maturity of the system of the athlete. The US uses 16-year cycle beginning from the age of 6, depending on the type of sports, so that by 22 you are already an Olympic medalist. But in the case of Nigeria, 3 strong policies have been brought but were not sustained. The Elite Athlete Program and Sustainable Grassroots Sports Development Program. The budget for preparing an athlete is costlier at preparation level than the competition year. But the reverse is the budgeting system in Nigeria. There's more money in the year of the Olympic than the grooming period from discovery to development. So these gaps need to be filled, and the infrastructure in terms of coaches, equipping the coaches and the facilities, as well as competition equipment, and regular participation in international competitions will keep the pace to allow the athlete to mature at the exact peak in the Olympics. Most athletes try to discover their peak after the Olympics or before because of inconsistency in preparation.
So how do we go around this inconsistency you've talked about?
The Ministry of Sports has tried so much to create programs. You can, just like what Dr. Mike said, the incumbent minister structured his program by inculcating the economics of sports so that the private sector will see it as a revenue generating business and partner with the public sector in order to sustain. And that's why they returned the Principal Cup, which was moribund for over some years. There must be preparation for age group competitions. I think so far what we need is to sustain the tempo and back it with the appropriate budget.
Okay, in sustaining the tempo, yeah, this question is going to both of you as well. You could find the time to just talk on that. Several times you see when it's competition time for the different sports fiesta, whether it's football generally now or Olympics like we have, you hear complaints from athletes who even want to hold the country or the administrators to ransom about salaries being owed, as well as some other welfare packages that should actually motivate them. How do we go around this and to forestall something like that happening? Because we're still learning that there's still issues like that around the corner.
Oh, okay. Look, why should we have people employed in sports and getting a salary? Sports should be able to feed, because sports is the excellence of man. If you look at the competitors across the world, majority of them don't work for ministries. They don't work for anyone because their training patterns and their competition patterns are quite different. This guy has to eat 2 kilos of meat on every week. He's a weightlifter. He has 2 kilos of meat to eat. There should be a company, which is Baba Salah Nigeria Limited, that produces meat, that supplies him meat. And they know that by supplying him meat, he is going to excel and profit them, and their small 20,000 or 50,000 naira investment is going to turn into gold. If you cannot translate that into a life of a young weightlifter, then we're going to have problems. And if the weightlifter himself cannot see, and a young kid who is 14, 13-year-old cannot see himself making a future in weightlifting, then what's the use? So, and it comes back again to the psychology of what Nigeria sees sports as. We're a 200 million people country. We have no business being outside the top 10. Outside the top 10, Nigeria should be going to the Olympics with 200 people. The best in everything, because we have people. That's what we have.
Doctor.
And that's key. If we don't see that as an economic value, then we haven't started.
Okay, quickly, last word from our DG. What do we see sport as today?
Well, let me just refer you that just last week I appeared at the public hearing for the review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I was making a case along with my professional colleagues that what the respect and honor sports should be given should be first be mentioned at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If you are talking of national unity and empowerment of youth and engagement, then it should be mentioned there so that it can be captured properly in our appropriation. But my words is that for the 2021 Olympics, let the ministry be given the right resources and let them select the right athletes and coaches and follow the specific and prescribed training program in order to get to the podium.
Thank you very much. Former Director General, National Sports Commission, Al-Hassan Yakmo, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Also like to appreciate Dr. Mike Anahoro. Also appreciate your insight.
Thank you very much.
Also, thank you for watching Nigeria Today. It's live every weekday at 7:30 in the evening on NT News 24. You can catch this edition as well as all the editions online at youtube.com/NT News 24. Let's keep our preparation on. I'm sure we'll be looking into these areas of interest as the day's closing for the Olympics to kickstart. My name is Blessing Abu. Bye for now.